me okay back there? Okay, now you can, okay. Like I said, I'm Nick Sortel, President Pro Tem of the Plantation City Council, and speaking to you on Memorial Day is an honor. Speaking to you on this one is especially meaningful, and that's because my father, about 75 years ago today, June 6, 1944, he was part of the largest seaborne invasion in history, D-Day on the beaches of Normandy, France. My connection to D-Day is that my father was part of that operation. He was an Army communications specialist. He was stationed safely to the back of the invasion that involved more than 150,000 soldiers spanning 50 miles. Think about that. That's from here to West Palm. My father also joined the Marines during the Korean War. Never left the United States during the Korean War, but he often spoke of his military experience. And as many of you who were there on June 6th know, that was a life-changing day. Real quick, was anybody else over there on June 6th? Does anybody have a relative or know somebody who was there on June 6th? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know we had a lot of military service over here too. Thank you, Stoner, for your sister's service and for everybody in the family, and all of you who had people in the military. Now, my father was I guess I should show you the picture. This is my father, and I bet many of you who are older and who are veterans have a picture of yourself like this, don't you, somewhere? Right? You remember these days? These are the good times. They're all good times. My father was no more nor less important than any of those people who fought Nazi Germany that day, but there was something he always marveled at, and that was how young he was, as Mr. Vagin mentioned. He was only 19, touring the world on behalf of his country. Now, think about where you were and what you were doing at age 19. The big difference. Compare that to my father, who'd already been with his unit for about a year, as they were stationed in Europe, often sleeping in tents. And like me, he stood 6'3". The tents could get a little crowded, and like me, he was solution-oriented at times. So in this case, my father would always befriend the shortest person in the unit, because you always had to share a tent. And so, as Southwest Airlines would call it now, more extra leg room, right? But here's the part I really want you to think about. My father fought that war at age 19 and then lived 70 more years, passing away at age 89 in 2013. That means he saw the advent of TV and the internet. He saw 11 men become president. He saw the creation of chicken wings. That was important to him. The arrival of Dairy Queen strawberry shakes. That was such a fixture as a basketball coach in my small town that they named the gym after him. I'm not crying because I'm sad, I'm crying because I'm proud. In 1958, he and my mother became parents. Their second son, this guy up here on the city council standing in front of you today. And only as I began preparing this talk did I realize, had he been one of the more than 4,000 Americans who lost their lives on June 6th, I wouldn't be here. My father passed away in December 2013 in our hometown of Herrin, Illinois, population 10,000. Like many cities, there's a doughboy statue on Main Street honoring those who fought, and soon after his death, they added his plaque on the wall, similar to the ones right here behind me. I'm especially grateful that plaque is there, and like I said, I'm even more grateful it wasn't erected 70 years ago, earlier, and he didn't suffer the same fate as the group from Bedford, Virginia did that day, where 19 of the town's 30 active soldiers died. One day, 19 of them were gone. But that day was the turning point of World War II, and within months, France was liberated. So we owe so much to those whose life ended almost 75 years ago today. Thank you.